Hey there, Bloomers and friends. Rev Kev coming to you from the Bloom office. Did you miss me? I had a good trip to Florida last week where I went and spent a couple of quality days with the family that I lived with in seminary for 2 years. When I was a student pastor in seminary in 1976 and in 76, 77, and I graduated in 78. I lived with a family in Piqua, Ohio on the weekends, Bob and Lucy Fess and their daughter Julie and their son Mike. And for the first time in 42 years, we were able to be together in the same house, in the same location, and it just serendipitously happened to be also for Mike's 60th birthday, with not my Mike, not Mike Shear, but Mike Fess. I did mention this in worship on Sunday, but it was a delightful time, and that's where I was last week, making that connection. This Sunday, coming up at Bloom, is an important day. It is the day of our annual meeting in our congregational fashion and in the fashion of many denominations and churches that have annual meetings. But this is our annual meeting where we elect our leaders and where we also set our budget for the current year. There are numerous wonderful things that are happening in the life of Bloom, and we'll hear about those also from our ministry coordinators. So we hope that you'll make a special effort if you're in town to be able to be with us on this Sunday and then to stay after, have some refreshments like we do, and then we'll have our annual meeting and basically contribute the energy and the motivation and the decisions to make the future of this congregation continue in viable ways. So we'll look forward to seeing you then. But I also wanted to talk about this Sunday in the sense of our commentary time and how that's going to be used. This is our month in February, a Black History Month. And this year I have been trying to have it be that we do something appropriate for Black History Month each Sunday. The black community started Black History Month. This is not something that the white community started so that black people could teach us their history. It is an aspect, and this is how Reverend Willetta Helene explained it to us. Our own Bloom member explained last week when she was offering our commentary last week. The month, or actually started as a week, was created so that black people could teach history to other black people, or would have that special notice, that special emphasis. And the reason you do that in any group that has been oppressed, but in particular this in the African American community, is that the way that oppressors basically control the oppressed is by denying them their history. And if people learn their own history, that is a way of empowerment for the future. Now, the adjunct to that is that other communities need to learn the histories of oppressed communities. And that's what we, as a predominantly white congregation, are doing as we try to pay attention in a close fashion to Black History Month. We also have African American members of our congregation, two in the form of clergy, with Willetta Helene, and with Reverend Pat Walton. Pat Walton has written a prayer entitled a responsive prayer entitled Take a Knee, in response to some of the ways in which the Take a Knee movement has been maligned, but also, in her perspective, how to give it new strength and revitalize, and to give it in a socio-theological understanding that she has for the way in which it is able to bring empowerment in the black community. And again, we as a predominantly white church who are committed to justice as a part of our mission and in our values and in our national church of being not only open and affirming, but also multi-ethnic, multicultural, that we value those situations. And so we want to support our own people who are creating these particular ways in which we are able to understand the history and the experience of communities that are oppressed. Now, a serendipitous thing happened after last week's Sunday worship, and that was that Ron Humphrey came and talked to me about how his family heritage was involved with the abolition movement, and that his grandparents way back when were abolitionists, and he feels empowered in his only family experience from that in the social justice work that he does today. So I asked him to speak about that. So we have in our commentary time this week one person talking about the heritage as a part of a family heritage that includes abolitionists, and then we have another person who is and that's a lay person, another person who's a clergy person, who is speaking about her take on the Take a Knee movement, or the Black Lives Matter movement of our day at this time. And in that way, we are learning two bookends of history, the current and the past, as we also are getting ourselves more aware of what's going on in between, and how we can also help to make things better for the future. There you have it. And I hope that you will see this as an important part of Bloom's life, in the way in which we are being a presence for good in our community, and a presence for good, for the good of the people that we gather together with in community. So you can join us by Facebook at 10 a.m. on Sunday. You can join us in person, and if you aren't able to be with us in person, please be with us in spirit. And as always, please keep us in your prayers.